He is nobody's child, literally. At one level, he is the story of hope in the midst of despair. An infant who is just a few days old, rescued in a miraculous army operation. But when he was saved from the now deserted and desolate children's medical facility at the GB Pant hospital in Srinagar, along with 300 other children, doctors were not able to track down his parents. Today, no one knows his name or whether anyone will even come forward to claim the baby.
This child is just a few days old, and he was evacuated on the very first day in early morning hours when GB Pant hospital went underwater. We sent a rescue team to bring out babies who were being treated at GB Pant. This child came from there. Unfortunately, once we settled down the children, we could not find any of the parents of this child. The child is being looked after by the hospital staff and the nursing staff of this hospital. But I hope somebody would one day come and claim his baby.
But the army will look after the baby till then?
Look after as long as we can possibly.
And is he in good health condition?
He's in good health. He's in perfect health. He's being looked after, and we hope one day somebody will come and claim the baby.
So he will stay with you till then?
He will stay with us.
For now, he is safe. But what happens next is uncertain, especially if his family is not found. When the army evacuated the GB Pant Children's Hospital, the priority was to rescue babies and then women. Men were brought out last. So the army is not sure whether this baby's father died as the waters enveloped the Pant hospital, or whether he might just be stranded somewhere and alive. Mercifully, the infant is in good health, oblivious to the death and devastation from which he was brought out alive, and even betraying the hint of a smile as he rests against his orange and pink blankets. But the army knows it cannot keep the child with them forever. Will this baby find a home is the unspoken question in the intensive care unit. We are at the army's main hospital in the Badami Bagh cantonment area. Almost a week after the floods hit, parts of the cantonment are still underwater, including all roads from the city's airport to the army base. The only way to get to the cantonment is to take a 10-minute ride on an army chopper from the old airfield. Choppers bring soldiers and relief to and fro, making dozens of sorties in the matter of a few hours. From these heights you can see the giant marsh, the wasteland that Srinagar has become. Inside the hospital at the cantonment, local Kashmiri doctors from the children's hospital, among the real hero of this crisis, have doubled up to help the army doctors in attending to hundreds of unwell infants and toddlers. 50 children are still not out of danger. 10 of them are in a critical condition. Some of the children have had to be flown in from the flood-torn and remote region of South Kashmir, an area worst hit by the floods. This little girl, Anika, barely 5 years old, is having trouble breathing. She rasps for breath, trembling with the pneumonia that the doctors believe she has contracted in the floods. Her mother has not left her side for 5 days. Heartbroken and scared, she breaks down in a stream of helpless tears. We try and tell her that the doctors are hopeful that her daughter will live, but in her eyes you can see that she knows how vulnerable her child is.
अभी ठीक हो जाएगी, ठीक हो जाएगी, ठीक हो जाएगी. चलिए चलिए चलिए. आप बच्चे को देखिए ना, आप मत रोइए. बस 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 बस.
The child has been brought with a history of having seizures, that is fits. The baby had fits, and on examination the child is in encephalopathy and has got pneumonia bilateral.
So you feel that she's picked this up in the floods, and she's been flown from where, ma'am?
She has been flown from Anantnag.
Anantnag.
And she's just been brought now, and she is in respiratory distress. You can hear the sounds. She has got pneumonia, and presently she is in unconscious state. So she has got encephalitis as well because of the infection.
On every bed is a little baby fighting to live, while thousands of migrant workers from Bihar and UP have gathered outside Srinagar's airport in a frantic rush to get out of the state. Inside this hospital, 2 women know they must stay back to save their children. They sit wordlessly in a corner of the ICU, unable to talk, their eyes stoic, their minds too scared to contemplate the worst.
On every hospital bed here at the base hospital of the army in Srinagar is the story of a tragedy, of a family that's battling for the life of their child, heartbroken parents, or there is the story of a miracle, some good news in the midst of all this despair. For example, this lady here who was flown in from South Kashmir because she was about to deliver a baby and she managed to do so successfully just yesterday. But the news here is not so good. A 5-year-old child here who's battling pneumonia contracted in the floods, also flown in from Anantnag. And as the army doctors work overtime with the rest of the hospital system in Srinagar under collapse, the most heartbreaking story of all, this little baby whose parents have simply gone missing.
Nature's fury has been compounded by man-made carelessness to leave Kashmir's children the most fragile and also the worst hit. Even when lives are saved, there may be no happy endings, like this 40-year-old baby who waits for a family to call him their own. In Srinagar, with Manoj Thakur, Noman Siddiqui and Manu Nair, Barkha Dutt for NDTV.